Alright guys, welcome back to your second video, and in this tutorial what I'm going to be doing is basically going to be setting up, pretty much configuring our Instagram API so we can actually use it, because that would be pretty useful. So I'm actually going to make this a PHP file, so might as well just save this as, and where did we put this, br downloader index.php, and save it. And now let's actually make it a PHP file. Alright, now this obviously isn't code, but before we get to that, actually I'll do it up here. What I want to do is I want to make a few additional settings so our server doesn't time out. So what this is going to do, as I told you guys, is it's pretty much going to connect to Instagram, and it's going to download a bunch of photos. So it might take a while depending on how many photos the user has. So I want to make a couple settings to make sure that our script runs for an adequate amount of time. So the first thing is set time limit. And when we set this equal to 0, it doesn't mean run for 0 seconds. It means 0 means the script is going to run for an infinite amount of time. The next setting is any set, and you can actually have a bunch of parameters in here, but the one that I want is default socket timeout, and I'm just going to put this at 300, and this is just so we can configure our server so we make sure that we have an appropriate amount of time. And then I just want to put session start. And this, of course, either if you don't have a session yet, it's going to start a new session, and if you already do have one going, it's just going to resume your existing session. So after we got our server taken care of, or our PHP configurations that allows enough time for it to run, what we can do now is start configuring all of this crap. So I actually want to make some constants, and I'll just put Instagram API keys. Now I want to make constants for pretty much just all of these, so I'm going to define them, and the first thing, which is our client ID, I'm just going to call this client ID, and that's that. So we can delete this. We can actually copy and paste this. Now the next thing I want to define is, of course, the client secret. I hope I didn't actually accidentally spell secrete. Are they spelled the same way? Who freaking knows? But once we define that, we can delete that, and one more constant that we can define is this oh, I got phlegm in my throat, this redirect URI, and that is this baby right here. And you actually don't need your the website URL, because you don't really have settings for it. It's just, the web page that the user goes to. So on your website or whatever, just put a link to it, and it says, hey, go to this link, and you can like download all your Instagram photos or something. And there's actually one more constant that I wanted to define, and that is, I want to say, well, let me go ahead and type this first. I want to say this. We want to have a place that doesn't change, so that's why I'm going to make it a constant, that says whenever you download these images from Instagram, this is the directory where you're going to save them at on your server. So I'm going to make a folder called pics, and that's what this image directory is. If you don't include this, and then you try to save an image in a folder, it's going to say, hey, you got an error, that folder or directory doesn't exist. So that's why I want to make sure that we create it right now. And speaking of which, it's probably a good idea in here. You actually don't even need to create it on your client, just on your server, but I'm lazy, so whatever. BR downloader, BR downloader. Refresh this, and enter, and now we have that pix folder on our server. So again, we don't even really need it right here because this script isn't going to be running on our client. It's just for development. We only need it on our server, but you know, whatever. So now if we go to right here again, we can see, alright, we have all that crap because we didn't delete this. Refresh, upload, and now check it out. Nothing happens because we didn't do anything yet, and that's what we wanted. And we also can verify that we have that pix folder right there. So now we got the API configured, and in the next video what we can do is, now that we got all the boring stuff out of the way, we can actually be getting into the good stuff. And the first thing I want to show you guys how to build that link that they click, and it's actually kind of weird, but it's simple once you get the hang of it. So, well, I'll shut up and I'll see you then.